Now that Nexstar and Sinclair are notably still holding out on carrying Kimmel, like they did not air this whole show and the monologue last night, and they were showing, I don't know, extra long editions of the local news instead. Walk us through the potential outcomes of this standoff. Who has more to lose here? And explain it to me like I am a small child with only a moderate interest in how affiliates work.
Yeah, well, to your small child, these deals are very bespoke and they are not like one size fits all. So again, this is generally how these agreements work, but there's a reason the affiliate network relationship has existed for the history of television, and these stations have never really materially gone independent and left ABC or NBC or CBS en masse. They benefit these stations. They make their money from the programming that ABC creates. And I'm not talking about Jimmy Kimmel, which essentially, if you break down the numbers, and I broke them down in the wake up if you want to look at the math, but it's maybe a $20 million a year national ad revenue, hit that you would get from losing these stations. The majority of the money that the Nexstar and Sinclair stations make is from college football, NFL, and they're not losing that. And, these stations have a financial responsibility to their shareholders, one of which is in the midst of a $6.2 billion deal to make money. Someone pointed out to me about they put Family Feud reruns in the slot last week, Elaine, when it was out. You want to know what the number did? Probably about a third of the average of what Kimmel did in the second quarter. So try explaining that to your shareholders, try explaining that to Wall Street as to why you're standing on this cliff of I don't know what to prove what point, because you're upset about something that someone said. From a financial point of view, this does not look good over time. They are contractually obligated to air what ABC puts out. You cannot really select. You have small carve-outs to maybe not air it a certain number of times. Once you go over that, you're essentially in breach of contract with ABC. That's where this is going next.
Well, the why of it is, perhaps arguably less related to being offended and more so, Nexstar's got a $6.2 billion deal pending to acquire Tegna that requires federal approval.
And if the FCC is threatening, and this is, again, Brendan Carr's talked 5 ways from Sunday about this, but they can make the argument, well, the FCC is going to take away our license because we're airing your show. Now, that hasn't happened, and that if that were, that's 10 steps down the line that, by all things I've read, is pretty legally dubious in terms of like, all right, would that ever stand up in a court of law with the Supreme Court? But until an actual action is taken, these guys are going to have to take the show or not take it, and if they don't, maybe ABC can put it on a different station in the market. Maybe they're free to maybe put that show elsewhere, and then you're competing against that show that he was giving you, a high rating with now your local news, which I would be shocked if that was giving you anywhere near the audience that you were getting with Kimmel, and you're losing money. So again, it's a lot of just like, shrug emoji is, kind of what I'm doing right now.